Hello, and thanks for joining us on episode 22 of the Edinburgh Northern Cockerel cast. A first from a club sponsor, if I'm correct, Michael.
Yep, that's very true. Joining us today is Edinburgh's premier handyman, who's sponsored the club for a couple of seasons now. So he's the gentleman who we've got on is a cultured character. Perhaps I'd describe as a stalwart of the club, and has spent the best part of the last 6 years, I believe, on the field competing in the back row for the first 15, despite a short child-enforced sabbatical. Off the field, he's been a larger than life character in the social and touring scene, including being an original founding member of the club's highly secretive cheese and wine club, two passions very close to his heart. It is, of course, the one and only Rory Pounds. How are you, Rory?
Good, thanks, guys. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you very much.
Very well, mate. Cheers. So, firstly, what have we got to drink?
I've kept it tropical like my jersey, so I've gone for a pina colada.
Excellent. Very firmly baths.
Good man. Yeah, I've got from your locality, Rory, from the Pilot Brewery, a North Sea Stout that two of our sort of very sort of interested listeners, Paul and Alan, bought me last night. So it's going down very well, though, for a 10%, I think.
It's a what percent?
The 10%.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to you tailing off at the end of the call as you begin to start your words off, something like that. I've gone the exact opposite after yesterday and gone for the alcohol-free Punk AF from Brewdog. So I'm keeping myself sober this evening.
I've got a couple of Guinness chasers to go with mine.
Good.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So we'll move into the body of the kind of the interview, Rory. Do you want to tell us how lockdown's treating you? You know, your work. How are you getting on with it?
Yeah. Lockdown's been the same as usual, really. Work went on. Being Edinburgh's #1 handyman, it doesn't really stop. Slightly different now, going to people's houses with all the PPE and sort of social distancing. And I had one guy spraying my shoes with a whole bottle of Dettol. And before I could take one step into his property, he literally sprayed a whole bottle on my shoes, and they were sodden. And then he had the gloves to wear. Lockdown hasn't been too bad, apart from my van being stolen, which was a bit of a kick in the nuts. But I think my wife's going a bit crazy being stuck at home with two young kids. But hopefully things are on the up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's close to that. So let's talk about yourself then. Right back to really where you're from. Talk about what you do there, and really how have you got to living down in Leith.
So where am I from? I say I'm from down south, but I was born in Singapore, lived in Hong Kong, lived in France, lived in the UK. So I could go all night telling you a story, but I'll keep it short. From when I started living in France, so I spent 10 years there till the age of 18, and then I moved to the UK to go to uni to study sport and rugby studies, which in my mind was my gateway to running out, but didn't really work out that way. And then I decided to, after 3 months, because I found out that the course was a bit of a gimmick, and in the whole time it had been running, which I think was 5 years, only one person had actually got a job with the rugby club, and it was in the marketing department for London Irish, I think it was. So it's sort of completed my career and did training as a joiner, as a carpenter, and then from there just evolved into a man of all trades. And then what else? Yeah, been living down in Leeds now. I met my wife 10 years ago. She's from the Borders, BC. Shouldn't really say that. Yeah, we moved to six years ago. Absolutely love it. Brilliant. 2 young kids.
Fantastic. It's quite the adventure there, I must admit. And obviously you talked about your uni degree, looking to get into rugby. What would you describe your rugby background at? You know, did you play at school? Have you always been a back row?
Well, I first started playing in France, where you don't actually play at school, you play for a club. The schools don't have their own teams, so you're part of the town, you play for the town or the village. So originally I played football for around about 6 months at the age of 8, and after 6 months I think I'd only been selected once. I played around about 4 minutes. And realised that maybe that's not a sport for me. And I had a friend who said, "Oh, my dad's the coach at the local rugby club. You want to come down and give it a shot?" And I did. And I played the first game, and I must have scored like 4 or 5 tries. And I thought, this is brilliant. And I played, I think, 40 minutes instead of 4 minutes on one occasion. So I was like, "Yep, I'm hooked. I will stick with rugby." So yeah, no. It was, yeah, I wasn't always front row. I wasn't always back row. I started in the front row. I was a lot, I'd say, fatter back then. And then slowly started to grow and trim down and move to hooker. And then from hooker to number 8, and then eventually to the flanks.
Excellent. And you talked about obviously playing with a club in France. I was reading an article on the BBC about club rugby in France, and it's kind of, you know, it's kind of very casual approach. What is club rugby like in France, I suppose, at that level for juniors?
At the level when I was sort of towards my teens, it was a decent level. We had a really good team. We had a hard-ass coach called Pascal. I think he had a screw loose in his head. He was a nutter. He used to make all the forwards lie on the ground before a game, and for warm-up he'd make all the backs run on top of them, which I've never seen before and thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And then he would get all the front row to headbutt each other in the changing rooms before running out onto the pitch. He was a psycho, but it's not relaxed. It's like the club I played for at the level, it was intense. I used to play for the under 18s on a Saturday, so we would train twice a week. Train on a Wednesday night, and then you'd train on a Friday night, and you'd play on the Saturday. So you get pissed on the Friday night, play on the Saturday, go out on the Saturday night, and then play for the over 18s for the senior squad on the Sunday, another full 80 minutes. I don't think I could do that now, but
Absolutely
it was
not.
intense. It was proper Southwest rugby. A lot of fights, a lot of punches, a lot of red cards, a lot of dirty rugby.
Fantastic.
Actually, sounds like I'd enjoy it.
You'd be suited.
So, all right then, Rory, did you learn about the best club ever, and do you remember when this was?
When I heard about Northern, it was, so I moved to Edinburgh in, I think it was April, and I actually went and did a training with Fiona's cousin, he was part of the setup for Harriets for their twos, And he was like, "You're always looking for guys. Come on, a training session." So I was like, "Yeah, brilliant. I'd like to get back into rugby." So I went down, had one training session, and they said, "Stand there and just watch us train, and you'll pick moves, and we'll slowly integrate you into training." And I was like, "Yeah, this sounds pretty shit." So I did that. I did one training session and left. His cousin was like, "So did you enjoy it?" I was like, "No, I don't think I'll be joining them." And he's really good friends with Greg Cranston, old BC Craig. And he was like, "Oh, I play for this club, Northern." I think when I play, he meant I played probably once or twice, and then I'm injured most of the time. And he got me to the club, training on a Tuesday, introduced me to the guys. He didn't even finish that season, and that was his last season for the club. And then I've been there, six years since.
Yeah, no, I remember Greg. I think I only got 2 seasons with him, really, and he was made of glass, like permanently. Very, very good player though. The only goal kicking back row I've ever seen. We had some built in him as well. We actually skipped the question we were going through there, which was you talked obviously about. I think it was your dad's friend who was the coach of the local club. But who would you say were the biggest influences on your kind of career? Growing up.
Career.
Your rugby career. Kind of, maybe internationals, or is it family?
I would have to say biggest influence would probably be my 2 brothers. Just the sheer competitiveness, trying to be better than each other was always the big factor. Who could be better? Who could be the biggest, the strongest? Which always they both play rugby. My older brother still plays, and my younger brother's just stopped. But we've always, over the years, tried to outdo each other, as brothers do.
And are you? Would you say you're winning that competition?
Definitely, mate. Definitely.
Good stuff. So, we can see you've plenty of Northern stash there. But if you were to decide on a unique selling point for the club, not just the amount of stash that you get, what might that be, Rory?
What's Northern's unique selling point?
Yeah.
Oh, there's quite a few to highlight. Best club in the world. Best club I've ever played for, I'd say. And I played for quite a few all over the world. Canada, France, Australia, Scotland, England. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about Northern. It's so welcoming. It's everyone's just arms open. Want to be a mate. Want to get to know you. From day one, from my first training session, it was like that. Most of my mates that I've got in Edinburgh are from Northern. Being self-employed, you don't really meet many people through work. So yeah, that was a big that would be a big unique selling point for Northern for me. It's the social side of it as well. Unbelievable social scene, which is good if you like a couple of cheeky snifters. You want to get out of the house and meet up with guys. It's hard to explain, really. It's a bit like Vegas. If you haven't experienced it, you can't really explain it. It's unique, definitely unique, and it's the commitment from everyone behind the scenes to on the field to putting out 2 squads every weekend. When you speak to other clubs who struggle to get one team out, it's all of it. It's brilliant.
quite right, and I think it might be fair to say you've got a good bit of work through your contacts at the club, as well as also, the flip side of that being you do sponsor us as well. But
yeah, I didn't intend to get any work through. The sponsorship was more for shits and gigs. I just wanted to see my company name on a rugby top. Actually, it paid off. It was quite good. Yeah, I got a fair bit of work through the guys at the club, and then word of mouth through them promoting my business was it's priceless.
It is an excellent logo to go on the rugby top, if I may add as well.
Dougie, who's modified it to Premier Handyman for the tour.
I hadn't even noticed that. That's excellent. That's quite amusing. So obviously you've talked about the social side of it, but I know you're a big fan of that. But obviously at the end of the day, it's a rugby club, and we do play rugby sometimes, sadly. So over the kind of 6 years at Northern, do you have any kind of particular favourite memories on the pitch? So favourite game?
Season in my time at Northern would be when we won the bowl final. I think I missed one game that season, which was the first game of the season, and played every single one. And then getting nominated player of the season, which was quite nice. But it was probably that would be my number one season to go to. I think of all my rugby career. But there'd be one other season when I was 17 for the club I played for in France, where we lost 2 games that season, and it was both finals in the cup and the league. The only 2 games we lost all season. But they were there. Yeah, I would definitely go. But yeah, that would be my number one season. Number one. I don't really have a favorite game. A lot of games just sort of blur into one. My memory's not great, so too many knocks to the head. But I would say that would be the one I would tell my son about.
It's true. I suppose if you can't, the games do blur into one actually when you think about it. Have you got any preferred opponents that you enjoy playing against, particular sides?
I do love the old El Botanico. I think it's quite nice that you can just walk from your club to their club to play. But I do like playing against them. Obviously, there's Dalkeith, which everyone hates. And then Leith also, just because I live in Leith, and they're no longer in our league, but when they were, it was quite nice to do a number on them. But I don't know what they're doing next year, if they're going down or up, or
I think they're going up. They won East to Cantor, really. Yeah, but they now have 3 15s.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which I don't quite know that. I didn't realise that Leith had such a large rugby playing community. But they've gone from struggling to get a 2-side out to having 3 15s and a gents side. So they'll be going up. But I think the 2s are staying in our league as well. So that's
I against them just because they 2-minute walk from where they play. But,
excellent.
So, Rory, any tries then? I think in recent seasons you've wormed your way over. Haven't quite dried up like mine maybe have in recent years. So, any of your own tries which stand out, and if not, any that you remember of others scoring?
I was thinking all week about which tries stood out, and I don't know how many I've scored for Northern. I'd probably say over 100, but I can only remember 3 of them. One of them was during the season that I was just talking about, and it was at the back of a ruck, and Gollum picks up at the back of the ruck, and we went down blindside. There was no 2-on-1 against the winger, passes it to me, I run in, and for some reason in my mind I was like, oh my God, there's no one in front of me, so I just dive over the line right by the touch flag, realizing I could have run all the way to the middle of the post. And then Colin came running up to me and was like, why did you put it down there? And I was like, oh, I don't know, I just panicked. I didn't know what to do. And then the other two tries I can remember was we were playing against the Medics a few years ago, and I was on the bench, and I came off the bench, and Bob McIntosh was playing number 8, and I think we needed 2 tries to either beat them or get the bonus point or something like that. And I came on for like the last 20 minutes, and at the back of 2 scrums, and we just pushed them over the line, and I scored 2 tries in the space of 20 minutes. And came off the pitch, game finished, came off the pitch, and was like, you bastard! And I didn't get 1, and you're on there for 20, and you got 2. But I can't. After that, I was struggling to remember any tries. A lot of it just blurs into one.
You mentioned a few back rowers there. So I think you've played probably every position across the back row, if I'm to be corrected. But so if you were to then choose your favourite Northern back row, or 2 more guys that you really like to play again alongside again, who may they be?
I think preferably I would like to be in the 6th position. And a big number 8. When I first joined Northern, everyone's mentioned Loggy, and unfortunately I only got to play a handful of games with him. But wow, what a unit! What a leader! Oh my God, unbelievable player. If not, in 8, I think Jezza was always a really good 8. Back of the scrum, so quick. Or Jamie McCann also I would slot in at my number 8, hard runner and hits the lines, hits great lines and offloads in the tackle, which is great. On the other side, I think Connor, the guy who just, if you're slacking, he picks up the slack because he's everywhere. Literally, not the biggest ball carrier, but his fitness and his tackling ability, he's just all over the park. Joys to be young again. I do enjoy playing alongside Dr. Dom when he's playing 7 as well. Yourself too, Jace. Always reliable in defence, which is good. Chop them low. And I'd say I'd probably go McCann and Connor as my back row.
That's quite an interesting take on that, actually, because obviously since you've joined, I can think of a huge amount of players we've had in the back row. We always seem to recruit back rows. Bob McIntosh. We've been really, really fortunate to have Connor and Jamie, kind of 2 relatively kind of younger and newer people, which is quite interesting, I must admit.
Think about Bob McIntosh earlier this week for some reason. I can't remember. I think because I was thinking about those 2 tries. I did enjoy playing with old Bob because he would always be there. You would make a break and you knew he would just be on your inside or your outside, and you could just offload to him. As dodgy as his knees were, he was a really good player. Sort of all over the park, general, sort of competent throughout in defence and attack.
Also, one of the quite such a relaxed human being off the field, but on the pitch, very intense and quite, like a frightening transformation. Completely like chilled out and stuff when you're chatting to him, and then do something on the pitch and he'd scream at you. So no, he was good though. But no, I think it's quite a strong back row. McCann, yourself, and Connor. So we'll move away from the on-field stuff now onto the stuff that I imagine you've been looking forward to, given the amount of tour tops behind you. But we'll break it into nights out and tours separately. So the first one is first. Do you have any favourite memories of nights at Northern in the bunker?
Oh God, there's so many. I was trying to think about it this week as well. Like the amount of burn stuff. What else you got? The players' dinner, the Christmas dues, the Halloween dues. all after every game, pretty much every home game, club dinner. I mean, they're all there's no favorite one. I think one of them, which was really good, was I think it was CJ who was he was entertainment's committee or something, and he had organised the Halloween party, and he had sort of created an escape room in the changing rooms.
It was based on Nightmare, the 80s TV show, if you remember.
I always remember that Halloween party. I think that was one of the good ones. The other, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, the burn suppers are great. The speakers, the guest speakers, means I get to wear my tartan trews and my tweed jacket, which I don't get to do very often. It's no, but that would.
No, I would agree. I would agree. One of the things I do actually love about Northern is the or before I kind of became a bit quieter, is the impromptu nights out, the ones that start off as are you hanging around for a beer and end up in Garibaldi's at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
absolutely like this, which is one thing the club does remarkably well. It's quite a challenge to be able to just impromptu go on a night out and get absolutely hammered and do that.
Yeah, the ones that are not organised.
The
trains and the bus trips also are up there as well. They are very entertaining when you get a load of bus virgins dressed or train virgins dressed in bin bags walking down the aisle, and then doing some sort of Northern's Got Talent where they all have to get up and sing a song, and you've got the judges at the back of the bus giving them a score out of 10.
Yeah, I remember that train trip that you're referring to. I think you're doing them a credit when you say walked in the aisle. I'm pretty sure we made them go like slugs all on the floor, much to the embarrassment of everyone around it. And also you talked about organised fun there as well. So the next question is, what are your favourite memories from touring with Northern?
Tour, well, yeah, tour is you can't top tour. It's the pinnacle of the rugby season, really. What would be my highlights from tour? So 6 years at the club, 6 tours. I think I'll start with one story, which I always find very amusing, which I think we were in Bucharest, and we were staying in a hotel rather than a hostel, which was quite nice. And the hotel was also hosting the disabled wheelchair
tennis. Yeah.
And I think it was after day 2. Well, day 1 we got there, and boom, literally Chindabia puked all over the foyer. Got the virgins to clean it up, it was minor. But it was when I came home one night, I think it was the second night, and you had fallen asleep in front of the lifts, not allowing the people in their wheelchair to get into the lift to go up to their room.
Yeah.
That was very funny, and that same tour, which I think was one of my brightest ideas I've ever had, is when I bought a box of lemons. There must have been over 100 lemons in this box, and I told the virgins to hold on to it and to not lose any lemons, and that I'd counted every single lemon. And so for two odd days, they had this massive crate of lemons that they had around. And every bar we stopped in, we made them count the lemons. And what they didn't realize is that we made them count them individually, and we'd ask each one how many they'd counted. And they'd always have a different number, so they got punished some way by doing some drink or some forfeit or something. But that was the best £40 I've ever spent on lemons.
I didn't realise it was £40 for all of them.
So like 120 lemons. I was like, this is a bargain. And I bought a bottle of whiskey, and I walked out with no whiskey and 120 lemons. What other memories? I do like the one when we were in Croatia, and someone had organised a bus to take us to this beach party. and Boom decided to get a tattoo, which I think a lot of people down the club have seen. So if I'm saying this and people hear it, I think everyone knows about it. But he literally, out of his tour program, went to the tattoo artist and said, "Can you tattoo this on my backside?" And I had done the translations in the tour program, and there's no actual translation for ass, titties, titties. The only translation I could find was bum, bum, boob, boob. So he thinks he's got ass, titties, titties on his backside, but actually he's got bum, bum, boob, boob. Which I always find quite amusing. I think on the same tour, we'd done a bit of personal touring. We'd taken the Virgins off, and we'd found a bar, and everyone else had gone down to the beach, and there was maybe 10 of us, and we were in this bar, and we were like, one beer, leads to 2 beers, 4 beers, and to eventually the barman coming out and telling us we were cut off, which I was like, this can't happen. This is Croatia. I mean, everyone drinks from 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was actually the church on the other side of the road that had called the bar to tell them to cut us off because we were too loud and rowdy. And that's why the guy couldn't serve us any more booze. It's because the church basically had cut us off on the other side of the road.
That's a first. That's excellent.
And I think one of my last memories, which I found quite nice, and this is typical Northern spirit, where you look after each other. It was we were in I think it was in Split, still in Croatia again, and it was a night out. I think it was the second night, and we were in this nightclub, and this random Croatian guy just started giving Callum Miller a hard time. And do you remember Kiwi Timmy?
Yep.
And so Timmy was standing next to him, and this guy's giving him a hard time, and I miss all this. And the moment I turn around there's the bouncer there, and he's sort of separating Timmy, Callum Miller, and this Croatian guy. And I'm like, what the hell's going on and stuff? And he's like, yeah, your friend piss on me. What? I was like, no way, we don't do that. We're from Northern, we're respectful. No. And he's like, yeah, your friend, he pissed on my leg. And I was like, really? I was like, Timmy would never do that. He wouldn't harm a fly. And I turned around to Timmy, I was like, mate, did you piss on his leg? And he's like, yeah. You're right, bro. He was having a go at Miller. I was like, yes, high five. And in the end, it was the guy who got pissed on. He got kicked out the club. I was like, epic.
Fantastic.
That's
a proper escalation.
One more story, which I always think about, which brings makes me laugh. It was probably the first or second season at the club. And do you remember Tyler, American Tyler?
Yeah.
And we organised to meet at the bunker for, I don't know, 2 o'clock kickoff, so we were at the bunker for like 12 o'clock or whatever. And we were playing away against Lismore. And so bunker got opened up. I think the twos weren't playing at home. The bunker got opened up so people could grab kit and all the rest. And it's like, right, fill the cars up, let's go. Bunker gets locked up. We all leave. We get to Lismore. And on the way there, I think you must have been captain at the time, JT. And you got a call, or someone got a call from Tyler. And he's like, guys, where the hell have you gone? And everyone was like, well, we're on our way to the game. And he was like, I'm locked in the bunker. Like, what do you mean you're locked in the bunker? And he's like, I was taking a shit and the lights went out and I got locked. I'm stuck in the bunker. And I think it was Uncle Joe that had to go and open it up and then drove him down to Lismore to the game. Which, I think of that one, it makes me laugh, yeah.
Yeah, when we interviewed Tyler, it was definitely one of his highlights. It was time at Northern, or low lights, you might say.
That is actually one of my worst nightmares, is getting locked in the bunker by someone. overnight.
Uh,
No,
Didn't two guys have to do that because they didn't have keys and they didn't want to leave it unlocked, so they slept in the bunker?
Paul and Christian, I think. After
Really?
well, I can't remember what it was. It was the party. It might be the Halloween party. They ended up staying until someone could come in at 9 o'clock with keys. But I more meant the kind of fear of being locked in there in the dark. Not with it. Yeah, just no. I couldn't. Yeah. Especially, I couldn't imagine someone doing it deliberately.
No.
I've often thought about this, Michael, but if you've ever locked up the bunker, you sort of know that there are push
Ways out.
exits from the inside, and then basically close shut and it's secure. Anyway, just for those who may get stuck in future.
If it ever happens again.
Escape advice.
So plenty of your fellow Northerners have sent in their listener questions this evening. So actually, first one from Anders_Christensen is, where's your favourite non-toilet place you've urinated, Rory?
Oh God. Oh, non-toilet. I think it would be on Holland's foot. When he was keeper of the Virgins and I was a virgin, and he handcuffed himself to me for 24 hours. And as sneaky revenge, as his back was turned, I just took a piss on his leg and his foot.
So
Fantastic.
not just Timmy then.
No.
Who knew that urinating on feet was such a northern touring occurrence? The next one comes in. Next asked question is from Paraguay Top Knot. If you're on tour and the opposing side is missing a few players, who would you ask to switch sides?
I know exactly where this question's coming from. Do you want me to tell you the story of what happened?
I feel like you should.
So we
elaborate.
last tour we were in Budapest, and the other team turned up, and they were 4 players short. And funny enough, we had 4 extra players, and we had 4 virgins. So we went, right, virgins, there you go. You can go and play with the other boys. And I think we got a penalty, and I tapped it to play it quick, hoping that someone would run off me and I could just pop it to them and they would just hit the line. Having been on the source for 2 days, no one was in any state to do any running. So I tapped it. I was holding the ball ready to pop it. And old Andy Nasser, T-Rex, literally is probably the hardest hit in my life. I'm surprised I didn't have broken ribs. He literally demolished me and took me out. So yeah, if I, what was the question? Who would I pick to go on the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be him now.
Lesson learned there, was it?
He'd definitely stay with us. Yeah.
Good stuff. So next one from @FightingFires. Quite a specific choice here, but you choose between 2 of Sambuca chicken's feet or bail buns.
Oh, I need to go bao buns. Sambuca chicken feet actually don't taste very nice.
Okay.
I'm not surprised.
I think on the menu they were just called chicken feet as well, but I'm pretty sure they doused them in Sambuca.
I imagine them to be kind of licoricey and crunchy, which is not a good combination of texture or flavour.
They were quite floppy, like it's just got skin and it's sort of boiled, so it's not even crispy. It's just flobby chicken skin with bone and ligaments. Bao bun. Oh, don't get me started on bao buns. The barbecue pork, fluffy paste. Oh my gosh. Oh, I might have to order some now.
Excellent. The next question comes in from at another decent joiner, which is, what is your favourite place to sleep, scooter or toilet?
Definitely on a scooter.
That's that. It's definitely one of my iconic images from. That was in Bilbao, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was definitely an iconic image from Bilbao.
I think
Possible until that night.
I think
You fall asleep on a scooter.
I'm sure maybe it wasn't you, or we needed a nomination to take you back to the hostel. And of course, I was like, "Yeah, I'll go. I need a sleep."
That was on the last night. I fell asleep under a table in a bar.
That's right.
you brought me back to the hotel, which thank you again. If not, I'd probably still be under that table.
I was always keen for an early night. So,
Yeah.
an ultimate one then from Captain Cocktail: cash or card?
Cash only. Cash only.
Very good. That was very straightforward. The last question comes in from @QuinTheBin. As a known Instagram influencer, what advice would you give to a fledgling social media user?
Just keep reposting the same picture. That always seems to work. People, and you bury that image in people's mind. Just keep posting it many times a day, same picture over and over.
So last one for me then. What are you most looking forward to as life returns to normal? We're getting there, but
once we're fully back to normal, first thing I'd like to do is take my wife out to dinner, which would be quite nice. And then I would like to get the postponed rugby tour back on the calendar, which would be good, and get the season underway. See what our new club captain has to offer.
Here.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'll try and do it in that order, but we'll see.
Good stuff. Cheers,
Excellent.
Rory. So
Thank you.
next time on the Cockerel Cast, we're planning a catch up with a pair of brothers who were front and centre of the Edinburgh Northern social scene before knuckling down into careers and family life. It's Tony and Paddy Doran, of course, so please join us again. For now, though, I'm Jason Thompson, he's Michael Mawdsley, and thank you to Rory for your time. Stay safe, and we look forward to you bringing a box of lemons to the next Northern Social.
Thank you, Rory. Cheers.